Some people don't just own dogs. Psychologically, they form bonds that feel like family. That's why, for some people, a dog feels safer than any human. You cancel plans to stay home with your dog. You check your phone while you're out just to look at photos of them sleeping. You talk to them like they understand every word, and honestly, part of you believes they do. When someone asks what you did over the weekend, the highlight is always something small you did together: a walk, a nap on the couch, just being in the same room. You've turned down trips because the thought of leaving them feels wrong. You've cried more over their vet appointments than your own doctor visits. And when people joke that you love your dog more than most humans, you don't argue. Because in a lot of ways, it's true. This looks like simple pet ownership, but it's actually one of the most psychologically revealing relationships you'll ever have. And the reason you feel this deeply attached says more about your inner world than you might realize. Let me say this clearly: you are not broken. You are not avoiding real connection. You are not substituting a dog for human relationships because you can't handle intimacy. This bond you feel is not a replacement. It is not a symptom. It is not something you need to fix or defend. Your brain has found something it desperately needs, and it's giving you that thing in one of the purest forms available. What you're experiencing is not weakness, it's clarity. It's your nervous system recognizing safety, and that matters more than most people understand. There is a kind of attachment that forms when you find something that never punishes you for being yourself. Dogs do not care if you are impressive. They do not need you to be articulate or successful or emotionally regulated. They do not withdraw when you are tired. They do not keep score. They do not rewrite history or make you explain yourself or remember things differently than they happened. When you walk through the door, they are happy to see you, not because you earned it, just because you exist. And if you have spent most of your life around humans who required constant performance, that kind of unconditional presence does something to you. It rewires what you think you deserve. This is where attachment theory becomes important, but not in the way most people explain it. Attachment is not just about childhood. It is about what your nervous system learned was safe. And for many people, human relationships taught them that love comes with conditions, that closeness requires monitoring, that you have to be a certain way to be wanted. Dogs do not do this. They offer something stable. And when your brain finds stability after years of inconsistency, it holds on tight. Think about the relationships where you have felt most anxious. The ones where you were never sure if you were too much or not enough. The friendships that disappeared without explanation. The family dynamics where affection was currency, given and withheld based on behavior. Your brain remembers all of that. It stores it as data. And then you come home to a dog who has been waiting by the door, who does not care that you were quiet at dinner or forgot to text someone back or spent the whole day feeling like you are failing at being a person. The dog is just happy you are home. That contrast is not small, it is structural. You might notice this attachment grows stronger during certain periods of your life: after a breakup, during a career transition, when you move to a new city, when everyone around you seems to be partnering off or having children or building lives that do not include you in the same way anymore. The dog becomes the constant. And people will say you are using the dog to avoid loneliness, but that is not quite right. You are not avoiding loneliness, you are surviving it. And there is a difference. Loneliness is not just the absence of people. It is the absence of being understood. You can be lonely in a crowded room. You can be lonely in a relationship. You can be lonely while performing connection, saying the right things, showing up in all the ways you are supposed to. But when you sit with your dog, you are not performing. You are just there, and they are just there. And for a few minutes, the weight of being misunderstood lifts. That is not avoidance. That is relief. Here is the part nobody tells you. The attachment you feel to your dog is not separate from your attachment to people. it is actually revealing how you attach to everything. If you find yourself more emotionally available to your dog than to the humans in your life, it is not because you love animals more. It is because the dog does not trigger your defenses. With people, there is always a calculation. Will they leave? Will they judge? Will they need more than I can give? Will I disappoint them? With the dog, none of that applies. So, all the tenderness you have been protecting, all the softness you have learned to hide, it comes out freely. And you get to see who you actually are when you are not afraid. This is why people who are deeply attached to their dogs often describe the relationship as the safest one they have. It is not that they cannot connect with humans. It is that they have connected with humans and it hurt. And the brain does not forget that. It adapts. It finds new routes. It protects you by directing your attachment towards something that will not wound you the same way. But here is where it gets interesting. The behaviors that come with this attachment, the baby talk, the constant photos, the decision to stay home, the way you orient your schedule around them, those are not silly. They are regulatory. Every time you talk to your dog, your nervous system calms. Every time you make them the priority, you are creating predictability in a life that often feels chaotic. Every time you choose them over a social obligation that makes you anxious, you are exercising agency. You are saying, I would rather be here in this small, safe moment than out there pretending to be fine. And that is not pathological, that is self-preservation. People will tell you that you are being dramatic, that it is just a dog, that you should get out more, meet people, build a real life. But they are not listening to what you are actually saying. You are not saying the dog is your whole life. You are saying the dog is the part of your life where you do not have to try, where you do not have to be more, where love is not transactional. And in a world that asks you to earn your place in every room, that kind of love is not trivial, it is foundational. There is also something happening on a deeper identity level. When you are attached to your dog, you are not just loving an animal. You are building a version of yourself that feels coherent. You are the person who takes care of something. You are the person someone is excited to see. You are the person who is needed, not for what you produce or how you perform, but just for being there. That identity is powerful, especially if you have spent a long time feeling optional in other people's lives. And as you age, this relationship changes shape. In your 20s, the dog might be the companion who gets you through instability. In your 30s, they might be the anchor while everything else shifts. In your 40s, they might be the reminder that you are still capable of tenderness even after disappointment. The attachment does not weaken, it deepens, because the dog grows with you. They witness versions of you no one else sees. They are there on the good days and the bad days and the utterly unremarkable days. They become a thread that runs through your life, connecting all the versions of yourself you have been. This is why losing a dog is so devastating. It is not just grief over an animal. It is grief over a chapter, over a version of yourself that existed in relation to them, over the space they held while you figured everything else out. People who have not experienced this kind of attachment do not understand why it takes so long to recover. But you are not just mourning a pet. You are mourning the only relationship where you felt entirely safe. And that is a different kind of loss. The thing is, your brain knows what it needs. And what it needs is not always what the world says is important. The world says you should prioritize career advancement and romantic relationships and social networks. But your brain says, I need something that does not hurt me. I need something predictable. I need something that makes me feel like I am enough. And the dog offers that. So you attach deeply, completely, because attachment is not random. It goes where it is reciprocated, where it is safe. This is also why the attachment can feel more intense than your friendships or family relationships. Those connections come with histories, with expectations, with old wounds that never fully healed. The dog has no history with you except the one you are creating together. They do not remind you of the time you failed or the version of yourself you are trying to move past. Every day with them is new, and that kind of clean slate is rare. Your brain notices, it responds. You might also find that this attachment makes other people uncomfortable. They do not understand why you are so devoted. They make jokes. They imply you are compensating for something. And maybe that bothers you, or maybe you have stopped caring. Because the truth is, they are seeing the surface. They are seeing someone who loves their dog. They are not seeing the years of feeling unseen, the relationships that ended without closure, the loneliness that has no language. They are not seeing what the dog is actually giving you, which is permission to be soft, to be needed, to matter without having to prove it. And over time, you start to realize that this attachment is not a phase. It is not something you will outgrow when you meet the right person or find the right job or finally feel settled. It is part of how you move through the world now. The dog is not filling a gap. They are creating a foundation. And that foundation is teaching you something you might not have learned otherwise. That love does not have to be complicated. That presence is enough. That you are allowed to protect your peace even if it looks different from what other people choose. The bond you have with your dog is also teaching your nervous system what safety feels like. And that is important because once your body knows what safety feels like, it starts to recognize when it is missing. It starts to notice relationships that require you to shrink, environments that demand constant vigilance, dynamics where you are always adapting, never resting. The dog becomes the baseline, and everything else gets measured against that. This is not about replacing human connection. It is about learning what connection should feel like in the first place. And sometimes, the safest way to learn that is through a relationship that cannot betray you. That will not leave you because you were too quiet at a party, or too tired to text back, or too honest about what you actually need. There is a version of you that exists only with your dog, a version that is unguarded, that laughs without thinking about how it sounds, that cries without apologizing, that sits in silence without feeling like you need to fill it. That version is not less real than the one you show the world. It is actually more real because it is the version that does not have to perform. And maybe that is the deepest reason the attachment feels so strong. Because with your dog, you get to remember who you are when no one is asking you to be anything else. You get to rest. You get to be small and tired and imperfect. You get to need something without shame, and your dog meets you there every single time. So no, you are not broken. You are not settling. You are not avoiding life. You are building a life where love is not conditional, where presence is not transactional, where you are allowed to be exactly who you are, on the hard days and the okay days and the days where nothing happens at all. And that is not something to defend, that is something to protect. Because the truth is, most people spend their entire lives searching for the kind of connection you already have, the kind where you do not have to explain yourself, where you are wanted not for what you offer but just for existing, where someone is always happy to see you, not because you earned it, just because you came home. And if that is what you have found with your dog, then you have found something most people only hope for. You have found a place where you are enough, exactly as you are. And that is not a consolation prize. That is everything.